I left my son's $3.8 million mansion on Christmas Eve for a truck stop cheeseburger and a dying dog. My son's smart home cost $3.8 million. My Christmas dinner cost $11.75. And if I'm being honest, I'd pick that greasy burger over every slab of imported stone in his neighborhood. Let me tell you why I left my son's mansion 15 minutes after walking through the front door. For the past 11 years, ever since my wife Carol died, my entire world has been reduced to the front seat of a 2001 pickup truck and the steady breathing of a dog called Duke. Duke is no pedigree. He's a golden retriever mix with one ear that refuses to stand up and a muzzle gone white with age. He's 14 years old. In dog years, he's practically prehistoric. In human years, he's the closest thing I have to a soulmate. He was the one who pressed his face against mine when I walked to the door from the hospital without Carol. He's the only breathing creature left on this earth who knew her laugh. So when my son Ethan asked us to come for Christmas, I didn't just clean up. I detailed my whole existence. I dug the grime out from under my nails. I brushed Duke's thinning fur until it gleamed like copper. I tied on his blue bow tie, the one Carol picked out for his very first Christmas with us. "We're heading to the big leagues, pal," I murmured, hoisting him into the cab. His hips are wrecked, so I do the lifting for both of us now. He let out a groan, the sound of an old screen door creaking, and dropped his heavy head against my shoulder. We drove 2 hours. We left behind the America where people patch each other's roofs without being asked, and crossed into a kingdom of iron gates and perfectly manicured silence. Ethan's place looks like it was designed for a magazine spread, not for living. All glass, all steel, all angles. Not a single Christmas light. Just what he called ambient exterior illumination. I pressed the doorbell, except it wasn't a bell. It was a camera lens that scanned my face. The door swung open. Ethan was standing there. He looked like money. Custom suit, bleached smile, a smartwatch pulsing with alerts every few seconds. He didn't reach for me. His eyes went straight past my shoulder. Straight to Duke. "Dad," Ethan said, jaw tight, "I thought you were kidding about bringing him." "It's Christmas, Ethan," I said, holding my grin in place by sheer will. "Duke is family. He can't sit alone for 2 days. He gets disoriented." Ethan squeezed the bridge of his nose. He glanced back at his wife, Megan, who was adjusting a centerpiece for the perfect angle on her phone. "Dad, listen." Ethan dropped his voice. "We just had European white oak installed throughout. The finish hasn't cured. And Megan has allergies. Plus, the whole executive board is coming tonight. This isn't some family cookout. It's a networking dinner." I looked down at Duke. He was pressed against my shin, his tail offering one feeble, hopeful wag. All he wanted was to be let in. "So where's he supposed to go?" I asked. "The garage has its own climate system," Ethan said, nodding toward a detached structure that dwarfed my entire cabin. "Full heat. He'll be comfortable. Just keep him out of sight until the guests leave." I looked at the garage, a concrete vault. I looked at Duke. He was trembling. Not from the cold, from the weight of being old. His vision is mostly gone now. Strange places make him panic. "Ethan, he's 14. He falls apart if I'm not in the room." "He's a dog, Dad. Dogs don't get anxiety. They run on instinct. Put him in the garage. Please, don't embarrass me tonight." "Don't embarrass me." I bit down on every word I wanted to say. I did it for my son. I walked Duke across the driveway to the garage. I spread his orthopedic cushion between a sleek electric sedan and a polished golf cart. I left him a strip of dried beef. "I'll be right back, old man." Duke didn't touch the food. He just stared at me with those milky, bottomless eyes. When the motorized door slid shut, cutting me off from his sight, Something seized in my chest like a fist closing. I went inside. The house was stunning, and it was lifeless. The air carried no scent at all. The Christmas tree was a reclaimed driftwood installation, an art piece, not a celebration. The guests filtered in, men in velvet sport coats and women who never touched their plates. They talked about virtual real estate, digital currency, and their getaways to Aspen. I lowered myself onto a white leather couch from Milan, afraid to shift in case I left a crease. 10 minutes crawled by, then 20. All I could think about was Duke, alone, in the dark, watching that steel door, waiting for me to come back. Because that is what he has done every single day for 14 years. He waits. Ethan was commanding the room, center stage, tilting a glass of wine that probably cost more than my first truck. "To family," Ethan declared, beaming at a room full of near strangers. "The greatest investment we'll ever make." Crystal touched crystal. That did it. The hypocrisy rose in my throat like something rotten. I got to my feet. My knees cracked. The chatter died. "Dad, the chef is plating the main course," Ethan said, irritation barely masked. "Where are you going?" "Left my blood pressure pills in the truck," I said, a clean lie. I walked out. I didn't spare a glance at the driftwood sculpture. I crossed the heated pavement and punched the garage button. Duke was right where I'd left him. He hadn't shifted an inch. The dried beef sat untouched. He was locked onto that door, shaking. The moment he saw me, a low, broken cry spilled out of him, and he scrambled to rise, his paws skating on the polished slab. The anger drained out of me. What replaced it was something sharper. Clarity. I gathered him up. He pushed his cold, damp nose into the crook of my neck. He smelled like worn flannel and faithfulness. "We're going home, pal." I set him in the truck. I turned the key. The old V8 thundered to life, swallowing the tasteful jazz drifting from the house. My phone lit up before I reached the highway. Ethan. I tapped speaker. "Dad, what is happening? Megan saw you on the security feed. We hired a private chef. You're walking away from a gourmet dinner." I glanced at Duke, already out cold, his chin balanced on the cracked dash, snoring softly. Safe. With me. "I'm sorry, Ethan," I said, steady as I could manage. "But Duke doesn't have years ahead of him. He might not have months. He has spent every waking moment of his life making sure I never drowned in loneliness after your mother died. I will not let him spend his last Christmas locked in a concrete box so you can perform for people who wouldn't notice if you vanished tomorrow." "You're picking a mutt over your own son?" Ethan fired back. "That's deranged." "No, son," I said. "I'm picking the only member of this family who was genuinely glad to see me when I showed up." I ended the call. There was no turkey. There was no wine. I pulled off the interstate at a truck stop diner about 40 miles from home. The neon out front flickered and hummed. I ordered 2 double cheeseburgers and a basket of fries. I sat in the cab with the heater whirring and the radio playing an old Willie Nelson track. I peeled back the wrapper and held the burger out. Duke stirred, lifted his nose to the air, and took it from my hand with a gentleness that could break your heart. I ate mine watching the first snowflakes settle on the windshield. It was tight, it was cheap. My spine ached. But watching my dog lap grease from his whiskers, perfectly at peace just because I was beside him, something became absolutely clear. A house is assembled from lumber and nails. A home is held together by love and loyalty. That night, Ethan owned a house. But I had a home. And my home had 4 wheels and sat in a diner parking lot under falling snow. Be good to the ones who wait for you at the door. Their universe is tiny, only as wide as you choose to make it. They don't care about your flooring, your net worth, or your title. They only want you. Don't ever lock them out. The following morning, the snow was still coming down, and my phone was still vibrating like a trapped hornet in the cup holder. I barely slept in the cab. I never do when the heater's clanking and your past keeps tapping at the glass. Duke slept, though. He always does when he's certain I'm within arm's reach. That's the thing most people never grasp about old dogs. They don't need a palace. They need a heartbeat they believe in. I rolled into my driveway just past sunrise. The cabin looked exactly how it always looks. Warped porch step, paint curling off the siding, a wind chime Carol strung up that hasn't rung true since the year she left us. I carried Duke inside like a bag of something precious and breakable. His body was warm and dense, and his breath stuttered in little sighs against my collarbone. Home, I murmured, as if the word alone could anchor him here. I eased him onto his bed beside the wood stove. He tried to stand, gave up, and settled with a grunt that sounded like an old man sinking into a recliner. I brewed coffee, real coffee, not the kind squeezed out of a gadget that demands a software update. I sat at the kitchen table and watched my phone glow again. Ethan, 7 missed calls. Megan, 3 missed calls. Unknown number, 2 missed calls. Then a text from Ethan appeared. Dad, you need to call me, now. Another one right behind it. This is out of control. Out of control. Like I'd driven his dinner party into a ravine. I stared at the screen until my vision swam. My thumb floated over call, but my pride is a stubborn creature of its own. And mine was never housebroken. Duke raised his head and looked at me. Those foggy eyes didn't demand answers. They just confirmed I was still there. Was I still here? Yeah, I said. I'm here. 3 sharp knocks hit the front door. Not a polite knock, a neighbor knock. I opened it to Donna from 2 cabins over, bundled in an oversized parka with her hair erupting from a wool hat like she'd been assembled in a windstorm. She had a casserole dish in one hand and her phone in the other, held out like courtroom evidence. Morning, she said. Donna, I nodded. Something wrong? She skipped the answer. She just thrust her phone at my face. On the screen was a video. Shaky, grainy footage shot through a windshield dusted with snowflakes. My windshield. My cracked dashboard. My hands peeling a cheeseburger wrapper like it was something holy. And there was Duke, accepting it from my palm with the slow, careful grace of a creature who has never once snapped at the hand that feeds him. My own voice played over it, tired and stripped raw. A house is lumber and nails, I heard myself say. A home is loyalty. The caption beneath the clip dwarfed the video itself. Old man leaves son's mansion because of his dog. Who's right? Below that, a firestorm. Thousands of comments. Thousands of strangers dissecting my life like it was a playoff game. Donna squinted at me. Tell me that isn't you. I swallowed. It's me. She let out a noise that was half laugh, half gasp. Well, congratulations, she said. You're famous on the internet. I don't own an internet, I muttered. Donna jabbed a finger at her phone. It owns you now. My gut clenched. Who put it up? She shrugged. Some young kid at the truck stop said you looked real and his audience needed something wholesome. Wholesome. That word has become a costume people throw over things they can't be bothered to understand. Donna scrolled. Listen to these, she said, reading aloud like she physically couldn't stop herself. If my father picked a dog over me, I'd never speak to him again. No, if my son stuck my dog in a garage, I'd bury him under those fancy floors. People care about animals more than they care about humans now. Maybe if humans acted more like dogs, faithful, thankful, present, we wouldn't have this problem. She looked up. Some of these are heated. I exhaled slowly through my nose. Heated doesn't cover it. Donna kept scrolling, and then I spotted it. A comment from an account with a flawless profile photo. Too flawless, like it had been retouched for a billboard. He's manipulative. He destroyed his son's professional event. This is emotional extortion using a dog as a prop. My mouth went dry. I didn't have to ask who wrote that. Donna didn't either. She just gave me that look. The neighbor pity you can't scrape off with a putty knife. "Is that your daughter-in-law?" she asked. I gave one nod. Donna's lips pressed thin. "She's getting demolished," she said. "People are merciless." I didn't feel any satisfaction, not a spark. I felt exhausted. Donna set the casserole on my counter the way you'd set a plate beside a sick man's bed. "Brought you breakfast," she said, "because you look like you got dragged behind a snowplow." "I'm fine," I lied. Donna raised her eyebrows the way every woman does when she hears that lie from a man past 50. Then she softened and glanced toward the living room. "How's Duke?" "Out cold," I said, sleeping like he didn't accidentally launch a national argument. Donna snorted. "Oh, sweetheart, that dog didn't launch anything. People have been furious for a long time. They just needed a campfire to huddle around." She tapped my phone on the table. "You should call your boy." "I will," I said. But my voice sounded like a man bargaining with himself. Donna left. The cabin fell silent again, save for the stove ticking and Duke's slow, even breathing. I sat down and opened Ethan's latest message. "Dad, she posted her version. People are calling my office. I need you to make this go away." Make this go away. Like love is a leaky faucet. I stared at that line until something inside me solidified. Not into rage, but into something colder and more precise. I didn't build this mess. I just refused to pretend it was tidy. My thumb pressed call. 1 ring. 2. Ethan picked up on the 3rd, winded, like he'd been running. "Dad," he said. "Thank God." I left God out of it. I said, "Tell me what's happening." A long breath out. "Someone filmed you at the diner," he said. "It's blown up everywhere." "I know." "Megan posted a rebuttal," he pushed on. "She said you stormed out because you resent her and you're bitter, and you were deliberately trying to wreck our evening." I closed my eyes. "She said that?" Look, Dad, she was in a panic," Ethan said. "The comments are savage. People are calling her a villain." My jaw locked. "You stuck my dog in a garage." Silence. Then Ethan's voice went rigid. "Dad, can you stop acting like we tortured him? It was a climate-controlled space. It was nicer than half the apartments in this county." "That isn't the point," I said quietly. "Then what is?" Ethan snapped. "Because right now, the point is my entire life is burning down. Strangers are leaving voicemails. I have a board meeting Monday and—" "There it is," I said. Ethan stopped. "What?" "The board," I said. "The meeting. The people who wouldn't lose sleep if you disappeared." His breathing caught. "Dad, that's not fair." "Isn't it?" I asked, still calm. "Did a single one of them call to ask whether your father got home safe? Did any of them mention Duke? Or are they just annoyed their holiday evening got disrupted?" Ethan's voice sank. "You embarrassed me." And there it was again. That same old sentence. handed down through the family like a curse nobody talks about. I swallowed the burn in my throat. Ethan, I said, I didn't raise you to be heartless. I raised you to be tough. But somewhere along the line, you started thinking tough means flawless. He laughed once, sharp and hollow. You sound like one of those motivational clips. I sound like a man who lost his wife, I said, and a man who knows what it takes to keep waking up after that. Another pause. Then, quieter. How's the dog? Ethan asked. I looked toward the living room. Duke was awake now, watching me. His tail gave one sluggish thump. Faint, but there. He's here, I said. He's worn out. Ethan's voice tightened. Dad, I didn't want him to be afraid. But he was, I said. Maybe you didn't plan it, but that's what happened. A muffled sound on Ethan's end, like he'd pressed the phone to his chest. Then Megan's voice leaked through, indistinct but sharp-edged. Tell him to take it down. Tell him to issue a statement. Ethan came back on. She wants you to post something, he said, like a public apology, something to calm things down. I let out a laugh with no warmth in it. I don't even know how to post, I said. And I'm not saying sorry for refusing to abandon my dog. Ethan's tone turned frantic. Dad, please, this isn't just about emotions. People are calling my firm. They're contacting clients. You keep saying people, I interrupted. You mean strangers. Strangers who won't remember your name by next Friday. That's not true, he said. Ethan, I said slowly, do you know how many strangers sat by your mother's bedside when she was dying? He went silent. I kept going because once you crack a dam, you might as well let the water run. Do you know how many of your mother's friends from your polished world came to the hospital? I asked. How many offered to stay so I could sleep? How many showed up with a pot of soup? Ethan's breathing turned rough. I don't know, he whispered. 0, I said. The ones who came were the neighbors. The ones with chipped mugs and rusted trucks. The ones who would choke on the words, networking dinner. Ethan said nothing. Then Duke made a sound. A low, wet cough. I turned fast. He coughed again, deeper, harder. His whole body seized like pulling air had become a fight. My pulse spiked. Duke, I said, already on my feet. His legs twitched. He tried to get up and couldn't. His ribs pumped too fast like a bellows coming apart. Dad! Ethan's voice sharpened. What's going on? I dropped every ounce of pride I had left. Something's wrong, I said. I set the phone on speaker and dropped to my knees beside Duke. His gums were gray. His eyes were wide. He wasn't crying out. He was past that. He was fighting. Fighting to stay. No, I whispered, hands shaking as I slid one arm beneath his chest. Ethan's voice came through the speaker, stripped of the suit, stripped of the title, stripped of everything but a boy who once needed his father. Dad, get him somewhere, right now. I'm on my way. It's a blizzard, I snapped. Not at him, at everything. I don't care, Ethan said. Tell me where you are. There was no time to argue. I lifted Duke, all 55 pounds of ancient devotion, and carried him to the truck. My fingers fumbled. My breath came in short white clouds. I drove like his life was mine, because it was. The nearest animal clinic sat 30 minutes away, assuming you didn't skid off the road. Duke lay on the passenger seat on a pile of old blankets. His head rested against the door, and his eyes never left me, like he was memorizing my face. Stay with me, I said, voice splitting. Just Stay. At a red light, my phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. I'm driving. Don't go through this alone. For the first time in longer than I can measure, I felt something besides bitterness and hurt. I felt relief. Like the boy I raised was still alive in there somewhere. The clinic smelled like antiseptic and damp fur. A young technician in scrubs took one look at Duke and rushed us straight to the back without a single question. They placed him on a steel table. They moved fast. Careful, but fast. I stood there with my hands hanging empty, and I hated that helplessness more than any word anyone has ever thrown at me. A vet appeared. Steady gaze, tired eyes, gentle voice. 14-year-old golden mix? She asked. Yes, I said. He's my... The sentence wouldn't finish. Because no word exists for what a dog becomes after he carries you through the worst years of your life. The vet nodded like she already knew. We're going to stabilize him, she said. Run some blood work. I hovered. Useless. Then the door opened and Ethan walked in. No suit. No flashing watch. No sculpted hair. He looked like a man who'd driven through a storm and lost an argument with his own conscience. His eyes found Duke on the table, and something behind his face shifted. Not disgust. Not impatience. Shock. Like he was truly seeing Duke for the very first time. Hey, Ethan said quietly. Duke's tail thumped once. Ethan swallowed hard. Hey, buddy, he whispered, voice raw. He looked at me. I'm sorry, he said, and for once it didn't sound rehearsed. It sounded like it cost him something. We sat in the waiting room after they took Duke behind the doors. The room was full of people clutching leashes attached to nothing. A woman with mascara rivers down her cheeks. A man cradling a cat carrier against his chest like an infant car seat. A teenager hugging a blanket that clearly smelled like something she adored. All of us pretending we weren't falling apart. Ethan sat next to me, knees bouncing. We're trending, he said suddenly, like the thought wouldn't stop circling. I stared at the wall. I don't care. He flinched. I know, he said. You don't care. That's the entire point. I didn't respond. Ethan rubbed his palms together. Do you hate me? He asked, so quietly it barely registered. That question hit harder than any insult ever could. No, I said. Ethan looked up, eyes shining and furious at the same time. Because the comments, he started, then caught himself. They're calling me every name there is. They're tearing Megan apart. They're saying I'm a terrible son. I finally turned to face him. And what are you saying? I asked. Ethan's jaw worked. I don't know, he admitted. I thought I was doing everything right. I thought, this is what making it looks like. I gave one nod. That's what they marketed to you, I said. Shine, appearance, total control. Ethan's voice fractured. And now, total strangers are deciding whether I'm a decent human being based on a 10-second clip of a cheeseburger. Welcome to the modern world, I said. Ethan stared at the linoleum. I didn't even want that dinner, he confessed. I wanted it to feel normal. I wanted you to walk in, sit down, and... He swallowed. But everything has to be curated for her. Everything has to photograph perfectly. I didn't say Megan's name. I didn't need to. Ethan's gaze flicked to mine. After Mom died, he said, you went silent. I blinked. I talked, I said. He shook his head. No, he said. You operated. You worked. You fed the dog. You kept the truck running. You didn't let me in. That stung because it was the truth. I stared at my calloused hands. I didn't know how, I said. Ethan leaned forward. And I didn't know how to exist around grief, he admitted. So I sprinted in the opposite direction, into deals, into money, into polished things. I looked at him then, really looked. My son, my boy. A man who owned everything and still had a crater in his chest that no designer could fill. I didn't leave to hurt you, I said. I left because I couldn't stand one more minute of watching you sell yourself for applause. Ethan's Adam's apple bobbed. I didn't think the garage was a big deal, he whispered. Because you've never been alone like that, I said, voice low. Not the kind of alone where the quiet starts to scream. Ethan's eyes filled. I am alone, he said, and it surprised me. I'm alone in that house. I'm alone at those dinners. I'm alone even when the room is full of laughter. I didn't know what to do with that confession, so I did the only thing I've ever known to do when someone's going under. I stayed still and let him talk. Ethan exhaled in a shudder. When you drove off, he said, I pulled up the security footage. I watched you carry him to the truck, and I realized you used to carry me like that when I was little. My chest went tight. You don't remember, I said softly. You had the flu, 103 fever, couldn't stand. I carried you to the bathroom and you kept saying sorry. Ethan laughed through his tears. I did? You did, I said. You kept whispering, sorry, Dad, sorry, like being sick was putting me out. Ethan dragged his sleeve across his face. And now I made you feel like showing up was putting me out, he whispered. Before I could answer, the vet stepped through the door. Her expression was measured. Duke had a frightening episode, she said gently. He's stabilized for now, but he's very old. His systems are winding down. I felt my stomach drop, even though I already knew. We all know. We just refuse to say it out loud. Ethan stood fast. Can we see him? She nodded. He's alert. They led us back. Duke lay on a blanket, an IV taped to his foreleg. He looked diminished somehow, like he'd spent the last of his reserves just to force me into honesty. When he spotted me, his tail thumped once. When he spotted Ethan, it thumped again. Ethan froze. Then he stepped closer and dropped to a crouch beside him. His hand hovered above Duke's head like he was terrified of getting it wrong. Is it okay? Ethan asked me, voice unsteady. I nodded. Ethan laid his palm on Duke's fur. Duke released a sigh, long, deep, a sound that landed on me like a hymn. Ethan's face crumbled. I'm sorry, he whispered to the dog. I'm sorry I treated you like a stain on the floor. Duke's tongue crept out, slow and feeble, and dragged once across Ethan's knuckles. One lick. Absolution, delivered in a gesture so small you could miss it entirely. Ethan made a noise that wasn't language. He turned his head away fast. Men do that when they're about to come apart at the seams. I didn't mock him. I didn't stiffen. I just placed my hand on his shoulder. Because maybe that's what I should have done 11 years ago. The vet went through the details, medication, monitoring, keeping him comfortable. I listened, but my mind was back at that garage door, descending like a gavel. On the way out, Ethan stopped in the lobby. He looked at his phone, then at me. We can't go back to what it was, he said. No, I agreed. He swallowed. Come to my place, he said suddenly. Not tonight, not with the crowd, just come. And bring Duke, we'll work it out. I studied his face. You mean that? I asked. Ethan's eyes held mine, raw, drained, and true. "I mean it," he said. "And if the floors get scratched, I'll survive." That sentence shouldn't have carried any weight, but it carried everything, because it wasn't about hardwood. It was about choosing what's right, even when it scuffs your image. We drove to my cabin first. Duke needed his bed, his familiar smells, his small corner of the world. Ethan followed in a rental SUV that had clearly never touched a dirt road. He stepped inside my cabin like he was entering it for the first time. Maybe he was, in any way that mattered. He looked at the wood stove, the nicked table, the old photograph of Carol on the wall. His expression softened. "I forgot what it felt like in here," he said. "It feels like living," I said. Ethan stared at Carol's picture. "She loved him," he said quietly. "She did," I answered. "She's the one who chose him. She said, 'That one, he looks like he needs somebody.'" Ethan nodded, throat working. He looked down at Duke. Duke was asleep again, breathing slow, anchored. Ethan's phone buzzed. He glanced, then winced. "Megan," he said. I kept quiet. Ethan stepped outside to take the call. Through the window, I watched him pace through the snow. His shoulders drew up, his hand pressed against his forehead. His mouth moved fast. He came back inside 10 minutes later, looking like a man who had finally spat out something he'd been choking on for years. "She wants to sue," he said flat. I blinked. "Sue who?" "The kid who posted the video, the commenters, everyone," he said, a laugh devoid of humor. "She says we're under attack. She says we need to protect our brand." I just looked at him. "And what did you say?" Ethan looked at Duke, then at Carol's photograph, then back at me. "I said we don't have a brand," he said. "We have a family, and we've been letting it starve." My throat clamped so hard no words would come. Ethan let out a breath. "I told her I'm done with the performance," he said. "I told her if she can't handle a scuffed floor and an aging dog, then maybe she can't handle the real me." That was the part people will fight over. Not the dog. Not the burger. The fact that a man finally planted his feet. People will argue about that line until the stars go dark. I didn't gloat. I didn't celebrate. I just nodded, once, the way a father acknowledges his son finally standing at full height. Ethan swallowed. "Dad," he said quietly, "you want to know the worst part?" "What?" I asked. He looked gutted. "When you said I was performing for people who wouldn't notice if I vanished, I realized I don't know if I notice myself anymore," he admitted. "I've been sprinting toward a version of success that doesn't even feel like mine." That landed harder than 1,000 comment sections, because I've seen that expression before. I saw it in my own reflection after Carol died. The look of a person still drawing breath, but not fully alive. I stared at my son. "You haven't gone too far," I said. Ethan's eyes glistened. "It feels like I have," he whispered. I shook my head. "No," I said. "You're standing here. That's the whole meaning of turning around." We sat in silence while the stove crackled and the snow piled deeper outside the windows. Duke snored softly. Then Ethan stood and pulled out his phone. "What are you doing?" I asked. Ethan looked at me. "I'm going to write something," he said. "I thought you wanted me to apologize," I said. "I did," he admitted, "because I was terrified." He raised the phone, then lowered it. "I'm still terrified," he said, "but I'm more terrified of becoming the kind of man who locks love in a garage." he typed. Then he turned the screen toward me. It wasn't an apology. It was a confession. In plain, unpolished words, he said he'd failed, that he'd gotten lost, that he'd forgotten what matters, that a dog reminded him. No company names, no finger pointing, no spin. Just the truth. He pressed post. His hand trembled when he did it. "You know they're going to tear you to pieces," I said. Ethan nodded. "I know," he said, "but maybe I've earned some of it." He looked at me. And maybe somebody out there needs to hear that it's all right to choose love over appearances. I had nothing wise to offer. So I did what Carol always did when a moment outgrew language. I put my hand on his shoulder. That night, we didn't go back to the mansion. Not yet. Duke was too spent, and the truth is, so were we. Ethan slept on the couch like he was 16 again. Somewhere around midnight, I woke and found him sitting on the floor beside Duke's bed. Just sitting there, one hand resting on Duke's back, feeling each breath rise and fall. Ethan looked up at me, eyes rimmed red. "I forgot," he whispered. "Forgot what?" I asked. He swallowed. "How good it feels to love something that doesn't ask for anything in return," he said. I lowered myself to the floor beside him. Duke's tail thumped once in his sleep. And in that small cabin, with nothing imported and nothing curated, my son finally looked like himself again. The next morning, Ethan's phone was still buzzing, but he didn't reach for it. He reached for Duke's leash. "Let's take him out," he said. "He deserves the sun." We lifted Duke together, like two men carrying something sacred between them. And as we stood on the porch, snow glinting like powdered sugar across the pines, Ethan turned to me and said something I believe should be carved into every front door in this country. "I spent years building a house," he whispered, "and I forgot to build a home." So here's the question people keep battling over in that comment section. If you were in my shoes, would you have walked out? And if you were Ethan, would you have opened the garage door before it was too late?